What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR. Sitting across from me this week and every week, he never shoots first, hits a smaller man, or takes unfair advantage. It's Desra.
Actually, I do all three of those things.
Yeah, I know. I thought it was ironic.
Hello.
Yep.
And sitting, of course, for me is Brian Paul.
And this week on PlayStation VR, Why We Love It is
That's pretty close to the title.
pretty close to the title.
That's right. We're still new at this.
We always film so late. It's like 150.
Isn't this early for you?
Yeah, it's pretty early. On every week on Why We Love PlayStation VR, we choose a game out of the PlayStation VR back catalog, the archives, the old games. We pick it out. We see if it's been patched, blow off some dust, and then and we see if it's worth our time. See if it's been improved since launch, or if it hasn't been, is it worth your time after all this time?
Yeah.
I gotta work on that.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
What game did we choose this week?
Today we're looking at Cold Iron. Actually, it's only one hand.
It is.
Sorry.
It is.
Yeah.
Cold Iron.
Cold Iron. Yeah, this is a game that's really honestly surprising. Because it's a quick draw game. You see the art, you hear the descriptions. It's a quick draw game. You know, there's games for the Switch, and there's tons of like little Wii games like that, which are basically quick draw games.
And American laser games like Mad Dog McCree.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yes. That too is a thing.
That's also a thing. It's a Laserdisc game.
Laserdisc
for anyone as old as us.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. No, that kind of hurt. They're like, I almost heard a brain cell pop.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Games were so bad.
Games used to be really bad. I'm really glad we're where we are, and we have games like Cold Iron for quick draw instead of full motion video games.
Honestly, like to kind of go on this little tangent, I actually was putting on my headset today, and I realized, like, holy crap, I'm wearing a virtual reality helmet.
It is pretty nice, isn't it?
I'm like, I am literally living in the future that 12-year-old me could barely even imagine. Yeah. And yeah, just pretty awesome. Anyways, so Cold Iron, yeah, it's a quick draw game, but it's actually a lot more than that. I don't know.
Let's get the basics out of the way.
Yeah, it's weird how to approach this game.
Basically, it was developed by a very small team, basically a two-person team called Catch and Release. Nice. And the game was released on PlayStation VR and PC VR as well on January 30th, 2018. So
I had that number too.
Fantastic. We're on the same page so far. It launched for $19.99.
Yes.
Leading up to launch, this game was such a mystery.
Yeah.
In fact, the teaser trailer for this game was so abstract. I think almost to the point of detriment.
Yeah.
There was a narrator talking, and you saw somebody riding a horse into town.
Yeah.
And so this automatically got billed as like a horse riding simulator.
Yep.
Because there was no gameplay shown. We didn't know anything about this thing leading up to launch. And so it wasn't until the day it came out where, like, I posted my review and, all the other YouTubers posted their reviews, and people finally knew what this game was all about.
It's not riding horses.
There's no riding horses at all.
No, that is not true.
Okay, there's a little bit of riding horses.
See?
Okay, but it's not a horse riding game.
No.
It's not about that.
No, it is not.
No. The only thing, especially at launch, you did in this game was shoot stuff.
Yes.
Primarily faster than your opponent. Usually it's a one-on-one quick draw game where you're standing facing your opponent. You have your gun down by your side, holstered, and as long as your move controller is facing downward, it's holstered.
Because you can actually just kind of sit there with your hand bent like this and then just pick up your finger.
In fact, for most of the game when I couldn't beat it, I would just like lift it up and put it way, way close, and then you could hear the thump, 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 thump of your heartbeat, and then randomly
ding,
the bell will ding, and you got to be the first one to shoot the other person, hit that trigger, and if you get a headshot, you get the little circle.
Yep.
But otherwise it still counts as a win. As a bullseye. So and that's almost the entire game.
At first.
Yes.
And that's what happens. So I fired this up. You play, again, we're kind of the spoilery sort of thing here. If you don't want spoilers, well, you're kind of on the wrong show. We'll try to respect it a little bit.
If you don't want spoilers, it's a 1. All right, bye. We'll see you next episode.
Shortest episode ever.
Right. No. Fast forward to the last like 5 minutes.
Yeah. But so like the first level you play, you're this cowboy gunslinger. Your dad was a gunslinger who quit, put his guns away when he had you, but of course his past comes back to haunt him. The bad guys come, they shoot him, and you are killing everybody in the gang to get vengeance. Very, very typical Western story.
It's like the Crow City of Angels.
Yeah. The Crow.
Oh God.
Man, that soundtrack.
Oh God.
Right?
Oh my God. Yeah.
Henry Rollins doing Ghost Rider.
Yeah. It was Hole.
Machines of Love and Grace.
It was good stuff.
Stone Temple Pilots.
Wow. Yeah. Big Empty, right? Wow. I think the soundtrack was way better than the movie.
Jesus and Mary Chain, I think, was on there too.
Wow.
If I remember correctly.
Also, the last time we heard of Jesus and Mary Chain.
Hey.
Is that not true?
It might be.
I think it's true.
All right. And your 90s Minute brought to you by... So, anyways...
I told you it's late.
So this whole thing plays out very typical. It's a Western thing. It's a quick draw.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, it got a little challenging, but I'm like, all right, I got this. Cool little experimenting game. And then suddenly, everything changes.
Yeah, because you fight a few opponents.
Yeah.
Doing the quick draw thing. Mm-hmm. And then and that's in the Old West. There's like sand everywhere. There's like some barns and stables and maybe a saloon or something.
And
right?
chickens.
And chickens.
Do you know about the chicken?
I mean, I know about the chickens. I haven't gotten the trophy for the chicken.
I did.
Yeah. I will have to have a talk about this then because I need to 100% this game. But then it brings you to, well, I mean, it doesn't bring you directly to the next stage. First, you shoot some melons that are flying all over the place,
which is one of the most fun parts of the game, I think.
I disagree.
Yeah. Oh, really? Okay.
I disagree, but it is. I don't think it's not fun.
Yeah.
It's basically a mini game between mini games where you shoot melons that are flying out of barrels.
Yeah.
And there's some golden melons that fly across in the
which
background.
Are a pain in the ass.
Yeah. I've actually yet to get the trophy for hitting every melon in a single bonus stage.
Oh, I haven't done that. I'm not even close to that yet.
Oh, I've come very close many times, which drives me crazy.
No wonder why you're not enjoying it.
Exactly. But then I'm totally enjoying it. It's just not as awesome as some of the other parts of this game that we'll discuss later. But then it brings you to the next stage.
Yep.
And no longer are you in like the Old West.
No, you're in this like mystical realm fighting magical creatures and yeah, so not only does the whole setting change, the whole feeling changes, the actual type of gameplay changes.
Yeah. It
turns from just straight sitting there and pulling and just being the first person to shoot to a puzzle game, really.
It is a puzzle game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you have to figure out basically where your enemy is going to appear. Sometimes there's multiple enemies. You got to figure out which one the right one is, and it still has that same dum 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 bing. As soon as the bell rings, you got to know which one you're shooting, and it gets real difficult real fast.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So what happened to me, and actually we talked about this before I kind of revisited. I played through all the Western parts. I'm like, okay, I'm kind of badass at this. I'm getting really fast.
Yeah.
And then you hit that first next level, and suddenly just being fast isn't enough.
No.
And I was thinking at first, holy crap, this game just got way harder, because I was mistakenly thinking my problem was the reaction time got smaller. And it's actually no. What was happening was you need to basically be aiming at the right place at the right time, which I didn't figure out because I'm kind of dumb. But then when I revisited it, came back to it, and I was like, oh wait, no, there's a pattern that you have to figure out in order to be in the right place to make the draw.
But they don't stop there.
No.
The next stage is like this post-apocalyptic environment with a sniper.
Mm-hmm.
And really, I feel like the next stage, again, spoiling the fuck out of this thing, is I think the only way you get good at the sniper stage is by playing it over and over and over and over again and learning all the different places that the sniper could be.
Oh.
Because what happens is there's a sniper standing right in front of you, and then boom, she like disappears, and she could be kind of anywhere in the stage.
Yeah.
And if you don't, there is like a red sight line.
Yeah.
A sniper shot. What the fuck is it called?
A laser
Pointer.
Well, you can see her before that.
You can.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is that it's really tough to see her. I think it's really tough to see her.
See, it's funny. The sniper one, I actually 100%ed the first time I did it.
Really?
Yep.
Okay.
And it was awesome. It was just because, well, no, that's not. I'm sorry. No, I do need to backtrack. It was, wait, I don't know what's happening. Oh, there's a red light. Bang. Oh, there's a sniper. Okay, she's going to disappear and appear. And once I figured that out, then it was just a matter of just kind of sort of focusing
stepping back and being like,
yeah, just sort of
being observant.
This is something actually Sid talks about at the club all the time. Is you need to look at everything, or see everything, but don't focus on anything.
Okay.
See, and that's what's so when
it's
you
like
do
one of those
that,
magic eyes.
yeah, kind of, and all of a sudden you see, okay, there she is. My problem was drawing too fast.
Yeah,
I was before the bell.
No,
but
wow,
so how
that's
about
that's impressive then.
So, since we're talking about like specific things, how about the next guy?
Mm-hmm.
How'd you do on him?
Are we still in post-apocalyptic, or
yeah,
are we
yeah. So like after the sniper, there's the.
I actually did pretty good with him.
See, that was my worst, almost one of my worst ones in the entire game. Yep.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so we've talked a little bit, and there is another stage even after this. But all we're trying to say is that they mix up the gameplay. You see, because in most of the videos you see of this game, people are trying to demonstrate, hey, it's a quick draw game, but it's definitely a quick draw puzzle game. It's really unlike anything I've ever played, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, it's definitely calling this just a quick draw game is really selling it short. So don't do that.
And let's not sell it too short based on initial impressions either, because when this game first came out, if you go check my review, you're gonna see that I was like, hey, this game's a lot of fun. It's a quick draw game, but it's really bare bones. It's only got 4 stages. There's not a lot to it. The core mechanics are fantastic, but there's just it's over before it begins, and for $20 it's a lot of money.
Yeah,
but it wasn't always that game.
Right.
So I reached out to the developers, and I've had quite a few conversations with James Tillman at this point. Right, there's only 2 of them, Matthew Taylor and James Tillman, and so James kind of like enlightening me on where this game came from, and so originally, back in November of 2016,
way back when
it was, not that long ago, but we're talking a solid year and a half ago at this point. It was called The Devil's Duel. It had a much darker tone, and it was all about dueling the greatest killers from the past, present, and future. I'd love to see what that game looked like.
Yeah.
Right? And apparently the only reason, or the biggest reason they decided to change the name of the game was because Tim Schafer of Double Fine Productions.
Hey
Tim. He heard the name and misheard it, and called it The Devil's Stool, and instead of The Devil's Duel.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of mishearings of this title as well. It wasn't just Tim Schafer. So they're like, maybe we need to name it something else. Yeah. So they changed it to...
If Tim Schafer gives you notes on your game, you take those notes.
Yeah, generally. Yeah. I know that I'm going to listen to everything he says when I make my game. So they changed the title.
He's making a game. You heard it here first.
Well, somebody's got to let me do some voice acting, and if it's not going to be anyone out there, I'll write my lines for myself. It'll be a game about a PSVR podcaster. It's going to be boring as hell. So they changed the name of the game to The Hereafter. And the Hereafter, they keep changing the mechanics, and they keep changing how this game plays. And apparently, it's each shootout ended with an interrogation scene. And the interrogation scene played out like a game of Russian roulette. And apparently, the controls on this sucker were like stupid complicated. And when they demoed it to people, it was like some real mixed reactions.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until they really started simplifying things and pulling things back and making it like, simple quick draw game as it is now, simple, that people started really, really enjoying it. So from October of last year to the end of January when it released, what was that, like 3 months?
Yeah. Wait, 3 months? Holy crap.
They basically worked, James and Matthew worked every single day. They didn't take like a single day off, and they worked 14 hours every single day, basically rebuilding this game to make it this new vision that they had.
Yeah.
They already had the core mechanics, but they stripped away all the complicated stuff, and then they rebuilt it. And in that short amount of time, they got the game that we now know as Cold Iron.
Okay.
Which is incredible.
Yes.
The fact that we even have a game to talk about today is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
So congrats you guys for really hustling. The grind must have been incredible.
Yeah. And so not only that, they released this game.
Yeah.
Gets okay to mixed reviews. People kind of like it, but that seemed to be a very, very common refrain. Was like,
I gave it a strong 2.
Yeah. But then they, unlike a lot of people, which is what I kind of respect, they were like, you know what? We can do better.
Yeah.
And they did. In April of this year?
Yep.
Yeah. They released the wildcard update.
April 17th. The wildcard update, I mean, look at these notes. Half of this sheet is just the updates.
Yeah.
Can you even see that? I don't know. Let's check that.
There are words there.
There's a lot of words. And the fact is,
one person out there watching this on a 4K TV just read the entire thing. So
I don't even render this in 4K. Must be some super sampling out there. I mean, do you have all the updates? I don't want to take control of this.
No, that's you can go right ahead. I mean, they added some extra modes.
I mean, a ridiculous number of modes.
Yeah. So one thing that's a little bit of a kind of annoyance in this game is each kind of level is built up of a few sub bosses or duels, and let's say you finish the first one, the second one, and you die on the third one. Well, you have to go back and do the whole thing over again, which is kind of annoying. But they added this exhibition mode where you can basically just go through all the levels you've already done and just concentrate on a single bad guy, and just do that over and over again. They kind of minimize the load times. They don't do any of the story. You just play it through and then play it through and play it through as much as you want.
Yep.
Which is, if you're really like having a hard time on one of the higher level bosses, it's great to get that practice in on the lower ones so you can just kind of cruise your way through. And
if you cruised your way through the first time, the first time you went through, well, we've got a solution for you. They added a hardcore mode.
Oh my god!
So the thing, remember we were talking earlier about how as long as you kept the move controller facing down, you could do one of these things and wait for the bell. Well, you can't do that anymore because there's one specific place where your gun can be holstered in the hardcore mode, and so you have to really keep it right there. Otherwise, it comes out of the holster and you lose.
What's even worse is you only get 6 bullets.
That's right.
Per level.
Yep.
Which means it's basically you have to one-shot kill every time.
Yep.
Which, I mean, you can't pull, like, you have unlimited ammo. Honestly, though, by the time you get 3 shots off, you're dead because they've shot you. But this means there's no room for error. You need to pull, draw, shoot.
And they make it even more difficult by
I can't remember this part.
So you have to hit the move button to cock your gun.
Oh, right. Yes.
Which is, I mean, to be fair, like I remember telling you about this game when I first played it, and about how when I play this game, I keep my left hand over here so that when I pull the move controller out of the holster, I actually steady my hand with my left hand, and I was like, and now I finally realize why people do that.
Yeah.
And Des was like, well, that's not the really reason they do it.
No.
Because they do it to cock the gun and so you can fire it all in the same motion.
Yeah, with the old Remingtons, you had the hammer. You actually had to pull it back manually.
Right.
So if you see, like, the old cowboy movies, they're, actually holding their finger on the trigger and bang, bang, bang.
Right. And I mean, I don't know. Guns are confusing. They kill people. I don't generally try not to do that. But I still do it now because if I just do this, like I'm not gonna aim quite properly, and so I still do this. I still make the motion, and I think it's just because it makes me feel like more of a badass.
Oh yeah,
Actually,
I had the opposite problem. I would draw and I'd actually pull the trigger before I got up, so I'd be shooting the ground.
I did that quite a while at the beginning. Absolutely, yeah. It takes a little while. And I feel like this game is really strange because especially when I realized this when I was shooting the watermelons, that feels like somehow the aim is really forgiving, but when you miss, it's your fault. I don't know how they managed to create this balance, but I always feel like when I miss, it's my fault, and sometimes I'm like, man, I feel like I
shouldn't have got that. Yeah,
they gave me that watermelon. That was a freebie. But also, so let's talk a little bit more about these additions. Actually, and the first thing I noticed was when I started this thing up, and I know that you didn't actually play Cold Iron.
No, I never played the original
until it was updated.
Yeah.
So one of the first things I noticed is when the game started up, I didn't play the update until today. Breaking the fourth wall here.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, it was crazy. Even though I reported on the update and was like, "Oh, this is so exciting!" I was so excited for it, but I didn't play it because I have other things to do. I run a YouTube channel. I don't know if you guys are aware. But so they dropped me into the bar, which is the main menu, and I start looking around, and all the menus are so much nicer.
Okay.
Right? It was like this. The graphics are improved. Like everything's a little bit sharper. This isn't the best looking game of all time. Some kind of PlayStation 1 era graphics, but everything was a lot sharper this time around.
I thought it looked fine. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I mean it definitely is functional.
Yeah.
Right. But also I saw some I saw some like literal Easter eggs sitting around the bar, and I was like, "What are these eggs doing here?"
Yep.
And I shot one, and it gave me points, like almost like Xbox achievement points.
Yeah.
And I was like, "What?" And so now they've implemented this point system throughout the entire game, where you can accrue points and buy stuff.
Yep.
You can buy posters for the bar. You can buy guns that look different, even though they act the same.
There's a banana gun.
There's the banana gun. There's the sound effects that you can change.
Yep.
It's so cool because it gives you like this not just a sense of progression, but a reward system.
Yeah.
And this is all new. This wasn't even in the original game. And I was like, this is cool. So like I'm shooting these like eggs, and it's like, you shot 1 out of 5 eggs, 2 out of 5 eggs. And I'll tell you, it took me the better part of 10 minutes to find the last egg.
Right.
Did you find all the eggs in the bar?
I have not found all the eggs in the bar.
Right.
In fact, I haven't found any of them.
Oh, wow.
I know. It's funny. The first couple times I played it, I was just like, okay, menu, blah, blah. I didn't really pay attention to the space. I did find out one trophy. Did you get lights out?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. That was cool. That was cool.
But my favorite, you were talking about the melons and how much fun they are to shoot.
Yeah.
Well, I got to say that my new favorite part of this game is part of the new wildcard update.
Okay.
And that is the Jugglers quest.
Oh, man.
The Jugglers quest
Repetitive stress injury, the game.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
I love it because all it is, there's a, what do you want to call it? A barrel, a small barrel, right? It's falling from the sky.
I thought they were just like tin cans.
Oh, okay.
At
Tin
first.
cans.
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. It starts off as tin cans, and one's falling down. You shoot it, and it bounces way back up. And then you shoot it, and it bounces way back up. And you shoot it, and it bounces way back up. And then another one starts falling, and you have to shoot that one to make it bounce way back up. And then this one's bounces way back up. And then there's like Coke bottles.
Yep.
Right? Which, if they hit the ground, you're screwed. But you have to shoot them to blow them up before they hit the ground. Same with the tin cans.
Yeah.
And then there's more and more tin cans. And then there are metal barrels. And the metal barrels are falling faster and harder, and they require more shots to keep up in the air. Next thing you know, you're shooting all these things trying to keep them up in the air, and then after a bunch of stages, you've got a final boss to deal with.
Yeah.
Something that never showed up in the real game.
Yeah, and it's like, just that description doesn't make it sound that crazy, but by the time you get to the final boss, it is so intense because you're constantly like just trying to fire and shoot. There's 12 different objects you have to keep up in the air.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it is not actually like full speed gravity.
Right.
It's a very kind of like slow sort of, molasses version of gravity, but no, you're moving around like a maniac.
Yeah. And there are difficulty levels for Exhibition Mode, for Juggler's Quest. These are all brand new. As we mentioned, new prizes, the Easter eggs, improved menus, improved options, improved graphics. And then there's the shootout, which is another training mode. Just picture Hogan's Alley from the original NES.
Yeah, yep.
There's bad guys popping up, and there's innocents popping up. And I'll tell you that there was one bad guy that kept popping up that I thought wasn't innocent, and I just let that dude survive every single time until I realized how bad I did. But yeah, but again, another great mini game.
Yeah. So one thing, this is kind of, we're talking about the mini games and all that.
Yeah.
Here's my Des Nugget for today. I spoke with the developer too. Just today.
Did you send James my love?
It was kind of funny. Like, I just followed them on Twitter, and they followed me back right away, and had a nice conversation. Anyways, he let me know, and I have his permission to say this. Today, so we're recording this on May 1st. Mm-hmm. So someone got the first platinum. No one had platinum this until today.
Today?
Now, they're still trying to figure out some way to celebrate with this guy because there is an update coming that's going to make certain things a little easier than they have been in the past.
Interesting.
So it may be easier for people to platinum. But if you've played this game, like, for instance, one of the things you have to get to platinum it is to have a reaction time of 0.20 seconds.
Wow, okay.
Which is pretty close to the limits of human ability.
Yeah.
And so there is someone who I did not get the name of yet. They weren't sure if they wanted me to put that out there, but one person has platinum this. So
congratulations, that one
that
person.
Is nuts. So if you're looking for a challenging game, this is it. There's actually, so there's even a post-game secret duel now that you can unlock that I haven't done yet myself.
No, I haven't either.
But in talking to James is His partner Matthew can beat it reliably, but he's still never done it. So even the developers cannot beat this. But where was it? Oh, here's a quote from him. I love little things like that. I think it comes from fighting Emerald Weapon in Final Fantasy VII when I was younger. The idea of the super boss that makes you feel like a world beater if you can find and defeat it. Yeah, I gotta say, like, you might catch some heat on this game, and they have, for it being really difficult.
Yeah.
And it is. It's a very simple concept, but it is really frustrating. But the gameplay and the level design and the new reward systems are such that even though it's frustrating, you're going right back in.
Yeah.
To go again.
We didn't even mention, I don't think we mentioned, that along with this update came a price drop.
Yeah.
They listened. They heard that everyone thought it was a little too expensive, and so they said, for the amount of content that this game comes with, it's a little too expensive. So not only did they up the content by, I would say, 100%.
Yeah.
They doubled the amount of content.
Oh, yeah.
But then they dropped the price down to $14, $13.99. Which is solid price drop, which is only February, March, April, 3 months after launch, not even.
Yeah. So they massively increase the amount of stuff that comes with it and then drop the price.
Yeah. But
I'm sorry. I was the voice acting. I want to give props to the narrator.
Wow. How did we miss that?
It's not Sam Elliott, but it's as close as you're ever going to get to Sam Elliott.
I got to say.
Yeah.
This is the kind of game. I remember starting this game up and being like, who the hell cares about a story in this game? All I want to do is shoot some dudes. And I want to go from one scene to the next and just shoot a bunch of people. It's a bunch of mini games all strung together. Who cares about the story? And I got to say, the voice acting was so well done that he made me care about this story. And
the story is really interesting. And it just takes this way curveball at the very end. I mean, you kind of get a hint that not everything is, kosher with this game as you play. But the narrator is great, and his little comments as you're playing. So a lot of times, there's certain games we can talk about where the narrators are funny the first time you hear it, but they keep saying the same things over and over and over again, make you want to smash your head through the roof. Or thankfully, shut them off. There is some repetition, but it's also varied enough that, and I'll tell you, there every once in a while, just a it's just gut wrenching, like, oh,
yeah,
like you screw up, and instead of like saying something about that's okay, or
where did you learn to fly?
Right. There was just one time there was just kind of a disappointed grunt, and I was like, oh, that was more heartbreaking than anything bad he could have said.
Sorry to disappoint you, Dad.
Yeah. So it's just, the story that's there is really interesting. Yeah. It's presented in an interesting way, and again, for a really super small developer, like, I don't know where they got this voice talent, but kudos to that. Yeah. So anyways, all right.
Here, time to rate this
rating. So our rating scale is pretty simple. There's only 3 numbers. 1, you need to buy this. This is absolutely something. If you have a PSVR, it needs to be in your library. Stop listening. Go buy this. 2, it's okay. If it's on sale, pick it up. It's not going to hurt anybody. We're not going to make fun of you if you're buying it. Sure, check it out. If it's a genre you really like, you'll like this. And 3 is no. Do not buy this. Friends don't let friends buy crap. We cannot reward these people. So what do you think? 1, 2, or 3?
Man, I do feel as though I give these out a little too frequently. But this one feels well deserved.
Yeah.
This is a 1. This is a 1. This was a solid 2 when it launched. I was like, man, there's not a lot here, but what's here is really good. If you can get it on sale, I was like, if you can get it for like $10, it's awesome, and you should definitely pick it up. But now at $14 with twice as much content, it's a no-brainer for me. I'm like, it's the only game like this I've ever played. I can't imagine wanting to play it outside of VR. So it's a very VR exclusive type game. And on top of that, the love that developers have given this thing from beginning to end, from the day it came out to the constant patches, the constant graphical upgrades, to this massive wildcard update, is that what they're calling it?
Yeah, wildcard. Yep.
Is just unbelievable. And if they realized their mistake price wise and they dropped it down. This is the epitome of a 1 for me.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. Like, it was funny when we first talked about doing this game for this episode. I was just like, I had this feeling like, oh, it's going to be another 2, and that's all I've been giving out lately. It feels like is just these two. I think last few weeks in a row, and I was happy, so happy to realize, like, within a couple minutes of playing, once I had that light bulb moment of realizing, oh, this is a puzzle game. Like, yeah, this is a 1. This is not even, even at its original price, I would say it's a 1. Now that they've dropped it, it's absolutely 1. And look, last week we talked about Mervils. Another very similar story. 2-man team. Game started out one way. Halfway through, they changed it drastically the other way. But, man, like, all those little things I was talking about that tell you how they're not quite detail-oriented with Mervils, here, I mean, we're constantly getting updates. They're constantly tweaking things. There is an update coming just to make bullseyes a little bit easier because they recognize that their aiming algorithms aren't quite what they should be. They're constantly tweaking this, listening to player feedback, and that's what it was. Once they did the wildcard update, they got a lot more people playing it and a lot more feedback. And rather than saying, Jesus, we just put all this work into this thing, just suck it up and play it, all right? They said, oh, no, we have a lot more feedback. We need to address it. So, yeah, 1, absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely I love going back to these games. These things that, like, I play extensively for review, and then I put back on the shelf and go, I'm probably never going to touch this thing again.
Yeah.
And then I've got an excuse to, and I don't think I've ever had such an excuse to go back to a game as this. As all of these updates, and I was pleasantly surprised to go back in and just see, that extra level of polish that this thing was given, and all of the extra stuff to do. It felt like, wow, this is the game that it should have launched like. Should have launched as.
And that's a good point too. Like, we're kind of framing this in you should go buy this, but for those of you who it's just sitting in your library because you played it when it first came out and kind of shrugged, go back and check it out because it's a very different game now, and I think you'll be happy.
I want to shoot more Easter eggs. Like, that was I was like ducking under tables and looking for all the eggs and stuff. I was like, I don't think the game wants me to actually get on my hands and knees and look for the last egg. Like, it should be a little more obvious. But it's I want more environments to find eggs in, guys. If you're listening, catch and release, give me a few more egg hunts.
See, so here's the thing with the chickens. Yeah. The chickens are actually in the levels, so you only have a certain amount of time you can look for them before the actual level starts.
I got to go play this right now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right, so guys, what did you think of Catch and Release? Oh God, I can't wait till that game comes out.
What do you think of Catch and Release?
It's good.
So actually, don't, if you want to research these guys, don't go to catchandrelease.com. That is a game.
That's the fishing game that's coming.
Yeah. So that's a whole different thing.
We'll talk about that in just a few months. It's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, definitely. What did you guys think of Cold Iron? If you've played it, if you played it at launch, if you played the updates, we want to know. We want to hear your feedback. And are you going to buy it because you watched this episode? I love when that happens. I love when we're like, hey, this game's totally up to snuff now.
Yeah.
And then people are like, oh, I'm going to go buy it now on your recommendation.
And you should.
Let us know if you do that. Also, the bigger question, of course. What's the next game you want us to talk about? Usually we have a couple lined up. I don't think we have anything lined up.
We have a couple ideas for episodes lined up. I don't think we have any games per se.
Yeah, let us know because we're open to all sorts of suggestions, and we love going back and investigating these games that might be worth a second look.
Yeah.
That pretty much does it for another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR. So for another episode of Why We Love PlayStation VR, I can get this one of these days. I'm Brian Paul.
And I'm Desiree.
And we'll see you next week.